What is going on YouTube? DoubleO here, and we gotta talk about this. My boy Boyega, fellow Nigerian, has made a huge fumble with what he said recently. He came after the Star Wars fans, and clearly you never go after the Star Wars fans, man. Crazy. This is really frustrating because you see all this shit, you watch all this shit happen as it's been happening all these years, and you see how everyone's been backing him. Even the people that you would call anti-woke, the people that certain people on the left would call grifters, the people that are basically called the racists, or the Uncle Toms or whatever you want to call them, even those people were backing Boyega, right? The people that it seems like they would find any reason to hate a black star or a black, they were backing Boyega. Now, some people might say, oh, it was revisionist history and they're just saying that now because it's convenient or something, but no, I don't believe that, because I see it. I saw it firsthand, how everybody thought Boyega was going to be the Jedi. Everybody thought he was going to be, I thought he was going to be the lead. You can see the reaction on my channel back when the first trailer came out, and I saw Boyega blaze the blue lightsaber in the first trailer at the end of it, and I was like, oh, we got a black lead Jedi.
I've got nothing to fight for.
Oh shit, it's in an American accent, I forgot about that.
Jedi.
Black Jedi! Holy shit!
They're real.
Just let it in.
Oh, it's insane.
My man's shit. Oh my god. And then they bait and switched us and gave us Rey instead, So like people have been saying, if he should be mad at anyone, it should be Kathleen Kennedy for trying to bolster a white brunette girl instead of the black man, like her. So yeah, let's get into this. Footage I've got here, I can't seem to find the original footage. I've only got it from Nerdrotic reacting to it. So we're gonna check the footage he's got, and then we're gonna go through it, really dissect this shit. What is Boyega thinking, mate?
Let me tell you,
I don't know what this is about, what this documentary is about. According to something Nerdrotic just said a second ago, it sounds like it's some kind of black people and entertainment kind of documentary or something like that. I don't know, but let's see what Boyega says.
Always had the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space. Like, this franchise is so white that it's like a black person existing in that was something. And you can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and had Samuel L. Jackson.
You mean Mace Windu?
So, like, what is this? What? Obviously, look, you can't be everywhere all at once, like the movie. Like, there's obviously going to be conversations being had on the internet about how maybe about diversity and stuff like that of Star Wars, and maybe he was involved in those conversations. But on a grander scale, I don't really feel like people were really talking about diversity in Star Wars in terms of race like that, especially when there's aliens and creatures and all these different kinds of things in Star Wars and female characters, all this kind of stuff. And if anything, the big talk was about the female characters, because that's what Kathleen Kennedy wanted to bolster up, and people were like coming against that because they weren't writing them properly and it was just overblown and overdone and stuff. So it just seems strange that he's even talking about the race issue, because I don't know how much of a race issue there was in terms of like the cultural zeitgeist and the conversations being had about this. It seems strange. But yeah, I don't know. And then he's talking about Lando and he's talking about Mace, like some of the two most popular characters in the franchise. Like, but he goes on to say that they weren't big enough, I guess, because they weren't the lead. But we're going to do
CNN had Samuel L. Jackson. Fuck. They're okay with us playing the best friend. Once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my God, it's just a bit too much.
What are you talking about?
Thank you. Looks very nice. Break time. There's no racism. I've got a white woman serving to me.
What are you talking about?
Just a bit too much. They're pandering. When people talk about pandering, they're talking about race swapping or like diversity where it didn't exist, like having black people in medieval times or having black people in, like, I don't know, ancient Japan or something like that, where it's not really it shouldn't be the focus of the story. You're trying to diversify times or places that shouldn't be diverse. Like you didn't need to have a white person in Wakanda, and even in the white person that did have in there made sense because it was part of the CIA and whatever else, you know. Like it's just silly complaints.
You could go through multiple films, multiple genres, multiple TV shows with lead black characters, and suddenly they're all irrelevant and forgotten, and they're not legitimate within their own right. This is Boyega being as racist as he could possibly be right now.
I don't think he's being racist as he could be. I think there's something else going on here we'll talk about.
It's like telling me how many cookie chips are on the cookie dough. I'm like, bro, it's just they just scattered that in there, bro.
All right, so yeah, that's what he said. I just think it's just sad that that's what he feels, because it feels like he's been, I don't want to say indoctrinated. It feels like he's been indoctrinated a little bit, you know, where the fans are saying one thing, and then the thing is, everything he's saying is true, but it's true about Disney and the corporations and the people that hired him in the first place. They're the ones who wrote the storyline, not the fans. And what makes it even worse is the fans were excited for him. I don't think anybody was mad about a black Jedi. Maybe if they had done it, I don't know where that would have gone. And also, if it was bad, it would have been about Disney's writing. Because did we remember a little man called Wesley Snipes in Blade in 1998 of all times, right? And it worked. People loved him. I don't think anyone complained about Blade in 1998. And multiple other black lead characters. They showed them all: Django, Luther. Will Smith was like one of the major black leads in Hollywood. Denzel in multiple movies. You know, it's just, now we're talking about a black lead in Star Wars. That would have been interesting. I'm pretty sure it would have worked, and it would have been so powerful. But we had Kathleen Kennedy. Disney was more concerned about feminism and brown-haired white ladies at the time than black men shining in the world of Star Wars. And the masculinity would have just paved, it would have just worked. I think it would have worked way better than Ray if they'd done John Boyega as the lead. But John is messing up, because he's saying real shit here, but he's messing up by attacking the fans about it when he should, because people were on his side when he was saying this exact same thing, but about Disney, and he's twisted it to be about the fans, probably because of the whole Rose Tico situation and how she was apparently getting abused, and the chick that played Reva, Moses Ingram, because she was apparently getting abuse and whatnot. But it's just that she had terrible writing, you know. I remember I was pissed at when I was watching it as well. She was too much, because the problem is, what happens is Disney was hyper focused on identity politics at the time, but they weren't focused on how to write for the identity, you know, how to write good characters. They were so focused on it, they just completely lost track of, you know, you have to make these good as well as just have them on the screen, you know. And that's the issue. And then the fans get blamed for not enjoying it. So they just end up getting called racist. It's not because they're black, it's because you focused on the fact that they're black and didn't do anything else with it. Like, for example, I'm not a fan of this race swap, but they race swapped the Valerians in House of the Dragon. But people seem to not give a crap. People love this show. People love the story. There's people defending the race swap. People, even Nerdrotic and people like them aren't even phased that much by the race swap in House of the Dragon. And those are probably the most biggest grifters you could say that are online right now. That's what people call them. But if you watch their reviews of House of the Dragon season 1 and 2, they were probably the few people that still liked it. And even though they race swapped the Valerians and everything. So I think the writing in season 2 wasn't great myself, but because they didn't care, they thought the writing was good enough for them, the race wasn't even an issue. So we know for a fact that it's not about the races on the screen, it's about how they write them. It's a Hollywood issue. It's a Hollywood issue. It's not a fan issue. Trust me on that one. This is what he said 2 years ago in this serious interview. It's got quite a lot of dislikes now. You got on social media. He sounded a bit more reasonable like algebra here. To me. 2 plus 2 is 4.
I'm thinking of Moses Ingram, who's in this Obi-Wan series, and so much racism thrown at her.
I saw that.
But Disney was there. They had a plan. And it seemed like, Disney learned along the way to have a plan for these sort of things to happen.
Was there racists thrown at Moses Ingram at the time? Sure, because that's the lowest common denominator. If you don't like something, you're gonna aim for the most thing that could piss people off the most. That's racism or whatever. If it's a woman, it's gonna be sexism. And of course, Disney's gonna highlight that as well, because They don't want any kind of proper criticism about the character or about the writing or about what they're doing with her. So they're going to deflect to the few racist trolls that there will be and use that and say that's everybody talking about the character. That's the disingenuousness of it, you know?
Yeah. When it happened to you, I don't think there was a game plan. I don't think they saw it coming.
When it happened to him, the most racist backlash I saw was when he first took off the Stormtrooper. If I'm honest, when he took off the Stormtrooper thing, I remember there was some like jokes and stuff like that. But after that, nothing. And people were just excited about him being a Jedi and all this kind of stuff, you know? Until they bait and switched and made it Rey. And every fan was pissed for Boyega when they changed the posters for the Chinese audience. And they literally, it's like right there, Disney did that. Disney did that to appeal to Chinese audiences. They, in one breath, they're saying that Moses Ingram, they wanted to defend her and protect her from all the racism. And in the other breath, they want, when the money's involved, they wanted to pander to the racist and Chinese audiences and shrink Boyega in size to appeal to them. Like, which one is it? You know, like, it's like, oh, we're activists when it's convenient, and then we're not activists when it's not convenient. When our bank's gonna be a problem, then no. And I feel like Boyega knows that, and it's frustrating that he's attacking the fans when he knows this is a corporate issue. Like, why are you attacking the fans just because you're in some kind of, I don't know, BLM documentary about black actors or some shit? Like, I don't know what he's thinking.
That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. But that's the piece that I felt. Moses Ingram being protected makes me feel protected. Do you understand what I'm saying? It makes
How
me
are you
feel like,
protected when they shrank you? They shrank you, brother. I don't understand.
I'm not the elephant in the room, because when I started, it wasn't really a conversation you could bring up. You know how they went through it. It was kind of like, let's just be silent.
Oh, he's bringing this up again.
Yeah, it wasn't a conversation you could bring up. But now to see how blatant it is, to see Ewan McGregor come and support is it for me fulfills my time where I didn't get the support. It doesn't make me feel bitter at all. It makes me feel like sometimes you're that guy, and my dad taught me that. Sometimes you're not the guy to get the blessing. Sometimes you're Moses. You know, you lead the people to the mountain, but you see the destination. You don't get to go in. You get others to go in, and that's where you get your happiness from. And for me,
how can he say that? He just said sometimes you're not the guy. That's what he's learned. But then when it comes to like this situation where he feels like he's been pushed to the side, maybe you're just not that guy, man. Maybe you just want the one to break out whatever lack of diversity you think is in Star Wars. Maybe it's going to be someone else, right? But he's talking about in a sense that Moses Ingram fought, you know, got Disney to decide, oh, I'm going to start speaking up for racism, and it wasn't him. Well, like, you can't be wise on that in one sense and unwise in the other sense.
for me to see other people accepted, and then at the same time to see that the studios now are like, okay, cool, this is not an elephant in the room conversation.
And look, this whole conversation is about the studio. It's all about Hollywood. It's all about the politics within Disney. He's not even talking about the fans here. But all of a sudden he threw it on the fans, which is a huge mistake.
It's fantastic.
Okay, but I'm gonna praise you one more time then, because I thought what you did after episode 9 was a lot like what you did in the park that day in London when you said, I'm going to quote you, what I say to Disney is, do not market a black character as important and then push them aside. I feel like they heard you.
Yeah, no, but as
That's absolutely right. Facts. And they pushed you aside. Why? You're not even looking at why. Because they wanted to cater to the feminist narrative. Kathleen Kennedy was in charge. She didn't care about any kind of representation other than just another female that looks like her, white with brown hair. That's what Kathleen Kennedy was doing. And look, that's everybody's thing, I guess. Maybe except for white males who have got white guilt or something. But these days, yeah, I guess there's black people that would probably want to bolster their black characters more, you know, when they're doing something, I guess, you know. But either you get upset at the right people about this, which is Kathleen Kennedy, who decided, you know, bolstering a white female with brown hair is more important than bolstering the black lead, the first black lead in Star Wars. That's a Kathleen Kennedy issue, not a fan issue.
As they should, even if you want to remove race out of it, just from a business perspective, don't tease no black. You know what that does to black people? You know how you guys got everybody motivated around Black Panther? Don't tease no and market no Black Panther, market a black actor and switch and bait.
Switch it, yeah.
You don't do it with white actors. You don't.
Why didn't he just say this?
You don't. So don't think you can have this skill set where you're going to put everybody on plasters. You got white people and black people excited, and then we come in and they in it for 5 minutes. You know, they die at the beginning. It's like, or they're the best friend.
But
They
where's the character
Where
arc?
is the
What-
character?
There's the best friend he was talking about again. But see, he's targeting the right people here. This is from 2 years ago, this interview. And then he just somehow blamed the toxic racist fans about it. And that was a massive mistake.
The character arc.
But why is it also that, you know, when you get, sometimes it can be writer's block, but why is it also that when you have this writer's block, you know, that affects these type of actors? Why is it, you know,
Thank you.
you still got a rich story coming through? Why can't it be spread out? And for me,
It's so funny he's saying that, considering, like, he's saying that basically, why is it affecting black people when you have a writer's block, but you somehow write good for the white people? To be honest, John, they were writing bad for all of you lot. It's just that Ray was the lead, so it seems like she was getting a better deal, but nah, fam, like, all of Star Wars episodes 7 to 9 was trash, and you know it was, and it wasn't just you. You got the very short end of the stick, but everyone was on a short stick to begin with, man. It was trash. So the writing was just bad all around. It was just especially bad for you because you're a side character, you know. But yeah, anyway, you guys can check out the rest of that video. That was just all I wanted to say about this John Boyega situation. I think it's just sad that he had to just come at the fans and say sprinkles of black, and then it's not enough. He's trying to claim that Mace Windu and Lando is not enough representation. Sometimes it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And at the end of the day, Lando is legendary. He came out in the 70s as one of a major black character in such a big franchise in a time where black people weren't getting representation like that at all on that scale, you know, unless it was blaxploitation. And then you had Mace Windu, who was a Jedi master. Samuel Jackson got his own lightsaber and all this kind of stuff, you know. And this was it was criticism at the time, and then George wanted to fix that by having a really strong black Jedi character who was well written and had a lot of importance, and was played by Samuel Jackson, you know. And John's saying it's not enough, fair enough, but it's like they were good characters at the end of the day. And I'd rather have those two than a myriad of Moses Ingrams, like loads and loads of Moses Ingrams, but they suck. I'd rather have two really strong ones than loads that suck, you know. Like, they were better than your character, Finn. You know, your character was trash. They were still better written. So it doesn't matter if you have more. What you should have had was you being the star, you being the lead, and you can't blame the fans for that, John. You've got to blame Disney for that. But anyway, that's my reaction to this situation. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll chat to you again soon. Peace.